So today we're doing one of my favorite things ever, and we're talking about some 5-star reads. Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex, and today we're doing part 2 of all my 5-star reads from 2022, which, if you guys have been on my channel a minute, you know, like, talking about my 5-star books, which are like some of my favorite books I've ever read, is easily my favorite thing to do. It's so easy to talk about books that you absolutely loved, and yeah, so like, why would that not be like my favorite thing? It's probably your favorite thing too if you have books you really love. I wanted to thank everybody that helped me celebrate my 1-year YouTube anniversary. My 1-year YouTube anniversary was last week, and the past 2 weeks I was doing a giveaway, and today I picked the winner. So congratulations to Abby for winning the giveaway. And this giveaway was actually kind of special because instead of me picking the book and giving it away to one of you, the winner's actually going to pick the book and I'm going to send it to them. So it's like a personalized gift. I am going to do another giveaway on my YouTube channel. When I hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to do another giveaway just like this where I let the winner pick the book. I had so much fun doing this. I'm so glad to meet some new followers, and yeah, thank you for helping me celebrate. Before I forget, make sure you hit all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. I post every week, and all we do on this channel is talk about books. So if you like listening to people talk about books, here I am every week doing just that for you. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. So before we really get started, like I said, this is part 2. So there's already been a part 1 of 5-star reads from 2022. These are books I just happened to read in 2022. They weren't books that were necessarily released then, because I don't really do new releases or anything like that. So these are the second half of the 5-star reads from 2022. And I know you're wondering, Alex, what's a 5-star read? It has to be perfect. That's all. It just has to be perfect. If it gets 5 stars from me, I absolutely loved it. I had no flaws with it, and I will happily recommend it to anybody and everybody forever. Like, once it hits 5 stars for me, it's kind of like one of those permanent collection books where I'm like, I won't shut up about it. When I get down to the end of the year, I'm always kind of surprised at how big the list is because I feel like I'm really stingy with them, but sometimes you just get some really, really great books. And in 2022, I got some really, really great books. And so, yeah, I'm going to share the second half with you right now. The first book I'm going to talk to you about is What Friends Are For by Erin Rose. I loved this book. Okay, so this is a collection of short stories, and I'm just going to be straight up and frank with you. These are very spicy, very smutty short stories. And they're all based around the friends to lovers trope. So yeah, they're friends that end up hooking up in short stories. I think there's 4 in this book, if I remember correctly. Maybe there's only 3. I feel like there's 4. Erin Rose just has like an amazing talent here of being able to do so much in a short space. Relationship dynamics that we're able to get on the page here were just incredible to me. Like, you really felt like these 2 characters knew each other like incredibly well, because I mean, they're portrayed as best friends that end up hooking up. And so short stories, I mean, they're short, so there's not a ton of space, there's not a ton of time for development there, but Rose really knocked it out of the park. Short stories are not something I typically enjoy. I absolutely love this. Representation galore. It was just filthy in the best way, and I just loved it. The next book I'm going to talk to you about is Bloodsucker's Blog by Ella Stone. So y'all heard me talk about Ella Stone a little bit. I really love this author, and let me tell you, this is a vampire book. I don't even really like vampire books. I really liked this because it just kind of was like something new. My hang up on vampire books, if you've been here a minute, I've always said I don't really like vampire books. Let me tell you why, okay? Because I feel like it's all been done. I feel like there's nothing new happening with vampire books. You know, I feel like it's something that everybody's written. It all kind of follows the same blueprint. It's just not exciting anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've seen everything there is to see. And so when I read this, I was hesitant because it is a vampire book, but like this felt fresh to me. It felt new. It felt exciting. I feel like we got kind of a new glimpse at what vampires could be. And it was really fun. There was a lot of really great humor in this book too, which I really appreciated. So let's do a little synopsis on this book. So we're following our main character, Merrywin? Yes. When she became a vampire, her parents like immediately like moved to the countryside and like got her away from everything. She basically just woke up one morning and dropped everything in her life and moved away, which as like an 18, 19-year-old is completely unheard of, especially in the digital age. You don't just like drop off the edge of the map and not like tell anybody where you're going. And so we're kind of seeing her settle into her new situation as a vampire, and then something comes up. Her regular way of getting blood is no longer available to her, and then a slew of murders that look like vampire killings start happening. In the midst of all this, she has started a blog that she didn't really think was going to go anywhere. She just kind of started it as a way to kind of like let off steam from her life, to like have someone to talk to because she doesn't really have anyone to talk to. And then it sort of like took off. So yeah, I just thought the plot line was really interesting. I thought the way that Ella Stone put this together was really cool and new and fresh. And yeah, it kind of had this like murder mystery thriller aspect to it too. And the lead-in for the next book, I think this is a 3-part series, was really cool. Like, I see where they could go with this, and it left me kind of excited. So yeah, I really like this one. The next book I'm going to talk to you about is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I adore this book, and let me just tell you, I know it's like so 50-50 on this book. Like, some people either really like this book or they're like, it wasn't for me. This book was for me. So we have our main character, and she wakes up in the Midnight Library, which is the place in between life and death. And in this library is every book that could have been every moment of your life. So like, say you picked the red top instead of the blue top, or instead of this big life decision of I'm going to go here and do this with my life, you went there and did that. Every book in the library is a possible life that you could have had if you'd made a different decision along the way. And so our main character ends up there, and she starts going through the books or the different lives that she could have possibly had. I loved it. Like, as someone who just like constantly thinks about where my life would be if I made this decision instead of that one, I live my life like that a lot, and it's not recommended. If you like, you know, the multiverse, if you believe in that kind of thing, if you believe like there's more of you out there in another realm of different decisions that you've made, I think that you would really enjoy this book. Some people in the review section said like it felt really self-helpy, and that if you don't like that kind of dynamic, that this book probably isn't for you. Yeah, I think it did kind of have some self-help elements, and some people are like, I don't need a book to tell me that I should enjoy my life. Well, I do. Sometimes I need something to like rein me in and be like, hey, be happy with where you are and what you are and enjoy the moment. And this book really did that for me. I can easily recognize that there's lots of people out there that don't like books that do that, but I do, because sometimes I do need a wake-up call. So there's also some discussion that our main character was very privileged and etc. And I will say, yeah, she probably was really privileged, and I mean, this is a fictional book, so let's not put like too much weight into it. But Our main character also suffered from a mental health illness, and we can't gatekeep mental health. Like, we can recognize that the main character was privileged, but she also struggled with her mental health. You can be both. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I absolutely loved it, and I recommend this to everybody. The next book I'm going to talk to you about is Moonflower by Elira Firethorn. This book just surprised me. I will say it is a smutty read again, but it also had this like really touching, tender poly love story that I just really wasn't expecting. So we have our main character, Cora, and she's at college. She's really bummed because her two best friends are living back at home away from her. And we find out that she doesn't just like them as best friends, like she's in love with them, like romantically as well. And then we cut to the two best friends, and they're both kind of sitting there saying, like, oh yeah, I really miss Cora, and why isn't she talking to us, and all this other stuff. So, but Cora doesn't really want to engage with them because she feels like if she can't have both of these boys to herself, then she can't have one of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, if she can't be with both of them, then she can't be with one of them. She fires up this old blog that she has that she's like kind of shut down, and she writes about all of her feelings that she's having for these two boys in her life. And then one of them accidentally accesses it and reads it. So then the two, I keep calling them boys, they're young men, okay? Everyone's in college, everyone's in their 20s, like we're all of consenting age and everything. They talk to each other, and then they're like, we're gonna go down and see Cora over Halloween weekend and surprise her. And surprise her, they did. Yeah, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. This is a novella, and it is filthy and exciting and hot. Oh my gosh. There's a trigger warning at the beginning of the book, and it reads like a dream menu, if you ask me. But it's really well done. Elira Firethorn really just like went off on this book. And yeah, it's really sexy. I mean, it's like a weekend full of sex, basically. But at the heart of it, there was a lot of really great moments between these three, and I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting there to be like a tender story there, and there really was. And it delivered. The next book I'm going to talk to you about is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Waubgeshig Rice. I love this book. I know I've said this. I mean, these are my 5-star reads. Of course, I'm going to love all of them. So, yeah, this one really delivered for me. This is an indigenous book, and it's also post-apocalyptic light, I would say. We're following a town of people that's in First Nations Canada, and all of a sudden, like, they start losing power. Like, the lights go out, or it's like, I think it's like the cable goes out, and then this goes out, and then the lights go out. But kind of where they are, they're on reservation land. I don't think they call it that in Canada, but that's what we call it here in the US. And they're kind of far removed. So at first it's like, well, it's really nothing to worry about, you know. But then people start coming in from other towns looking for sanctuary and saying that things have really like gone off the rails. It just takes a really dark turn into like a post-apocalyptic situation. I mean, it's great. It's well written. It's got a lot of indigenous culture in here. It's just got a lot going on, and I couldn't put it down. Like, the pace was great. The story was great. It was very intriguing. I couldn't stop reading it. This is part of a series. Waubgeshig Rice has not released the second book, so yeah, like I knew at the end, when we were getting towards the end, I was like, there's still a lot of things that we haven't resolved yet, and yeah, that's because it's a sequel that's not been continued yet. So I'm patiently waiting for Waubgeshig Rice to publish the next book, and hopefully the next book is the last one, because I don't know if I can hold out for a third book. This book was really great. I thought the representation was amazing. There were some really dark moments, and then there were just some really, I don't know, touching moments too. It's definitely one I highly recommend. Okay, this is the last book, you guys, and it was so good. Well, I mean, they're all so good. But it's Santa's Broken Toy by Oona Grace. Just look at this cover. I feel like I need to just say something. Um, because the first half, when I did part one, had like no smutty books on it. And this one had three. Three is half the list, though half the list was smutty books, okay? I'm not ashamed and I'm not sorry or anything. I'm just telling you, yeah, I didn't know I broke it down that way. But here we go. Um, so this came into my orbit actually because Oona Grace was a client of mine through my freelancing that I do, and she just very quickly became a good friend. Honestly, like I feel like I'm talking to a good friend now when I work with her, and she's just an amazing author, and this was her debut novel. It's smashing. Like it's such a good time. It's a novella, so it's short and it's steamy. It's so hot, okay? You could read this in one sitting. It's so good, okay? So we have our main character, Mary. She's a young widow. I think she's like in her 40s. And she decides that instead of going to see her family for Christmas and like suffering through the like, oh, we're so sorry and blah, 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 because she lost her husband a few years ago, she decides to go to a cabin in the woods and just be alone, right? Chill in front of the fire, you know, maybe get really drunk and just kind of embrace the solitude, right? Well, she gets there, snowstorm moves in, and this gorgeous man who's older than her, I think he's in his 50s, knocks on her door and is like, I need help. She's like, so do I. Okay? And the rest of it is just a very spicy time. Top of this being a very well written smut book. There are so many beautiful moments in this book that just melted my heart. We talk so much about grief and loving yourself and, you know, accepting your situation. There's just a lot of really amazing moments in here. For a novella, this packed a huge punch. I don't. This is her debut novel. Like, excuse me? She knocked it out of the park. This is an amazing book. I absolutely loved it. I recommend this to everybody. Like, if you want. Okay, it's filthy. Let me just. Bottom line, it's filthy, but it has so many amazing elements in here besides that. Like, that's not the only thing happening here. There's a lot of really great moments in this book. I read it around Christmas time. That's when it was released, and I love it. I love it so much. I can't wait for her to publish more. And for a debut novel, she just blew me away. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. This is really fun. Like, I love talking about my 5-star books because they just make me so happy, and it's always just great memories to call back on a lot of these books. So, yeah, I had a really good time. Thank you to everyone that entered the giveaway. Congratulations to Abby who won the giveaway. We will be in touch soon, hopefully. Make sure you hit all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!